Wow, long time no see. And I think it's the right time to get back on track with the videos because the green babies have helped me quite a lot. And we still have the progress to be made, but I think it's a good day today to discuss this lovely lady right here, which she is named Aurora. She's the Caladium bicolor that I got recently. And all the tips we're gonna discuss today, these two leaves by the way are new. All the tips we're gonna discuss today apply to all caladiums because there's so many colors, this is just pure art. And I'm not really a magenta person. I'm not a pink kind of like color lover, but this color I love, or this pattern. And caladiums, they're thought to be a very hard plant to take care of. I have no idea why, because most tropical plant parents like myself, I have 100 plants here. It's kind of like me, like what? Why? Because tropical plants follow the same rules, so they have the same kind of background, which means a humid and tropical climate. Which brings us to the tips I'm going to discuss now. And let's start first with the sunlight. What you need to do when it comes to sunlight for a caladium. Well, indirect sunlight. It is the common rule I'll be saying again and again, because when people ask me when to take care of a plant, like via a message on Instagram, they think that each plant has a different set of rules. And I'm like, why? It is a tropical plant. You need to have it by category, and it makes your life so much easier, because if you have 10 tropical plants and you add another one, you don't need a different set of instructions. The variations become a little bit more tricky. This is why most people don't have tropical plants, is because it's the watering, the little stuff, the details as we call them. But sunlight and water, for a few of them it's like so and so, but for sunlight especially, indirect light, because they have very thin leaves. Oh, that was my chair. Do you see this? They're quite thin, and I have another mature leaf that this is perfectly illustrated. Oh, this one. It is very thin, which the patterns, same as calatheas, indicate one thing. The more patterns you see on the leaf, the more sensitive they are when it comes to the direct sunlight, which means they're gonna get burned. So let me show you where I have Aurora right now, because I'm still organizing the space. Let's check this. Okay, this is where Aurora sits right now with the alocasia that I don't know how to pronounce yet. And she's like cuckooing you on the screen with her leaf here. So this is where they are at the moment, because I don't want them to be, hurt or broken with all the housework that's been going here. So indirect light, leaving the window open for a little bit, and they're gonna be just fine. Next to the alocasia that I have no idea how to pronounce this is Lauterbachiana, I think. I don't know how to pronounce it, but when we talk about this, I'll make sure that I will know this till then. So next to the window, with have it a little bit more open so some air gets inside. They're protected. They're not gonna be burned. Nothing's gonna happen, and they're gonna be happy because they get all the light that they need, but they are protected from the sun and they don't get burned. Now, when it comes to watering, I will say this in the simplest way possible, which is like the keyword for those lovely ladies here. Ladies, boys, whatever you want to call them. But for me, they're ladies because they have this color and they're quite like, I don't know. They're very chic. I like to think of them as girls. But when it comes to watering, let's go back to the topic. The soil needs to be moist and a little bit dried up before the next watering. What does that mean? You have the soil, it's actually quite moist right now. You need to check it for it to be dried up before you water the plant again. They need this kind of like frequent check, I admit that, but if you're into this mood and you love plants, it's not something that's gonna bug you because you want to take care of them. So make sure that the soil is constantly moist, not to the point that it actually drowns, but to the point that it has some humidity inside, because it allows the roots to absorb the humidity when they need it, and it allows the the roots to actually breathe, which is the combination of the coconut coir mix that I have in all of my plants. So let's do a combo of the soil and the watering. A well-drained soil means that it flushes away all the unnecessary water, and this is why when you water it, like the first batch of water that comes in, it gets flushed out. It's like an intro, which means that it actually stimulates the plant. It gives the idea, buddy, you're getting watered now. So first batch, it flushes out. Second batch, less flushing. Third batch, less flushing. More, it keeps coming up less water is coming through the flushing out of the watering, which means that if you have this, the soil becomes a little bit hydrophobic, first of all, because it's well drained. But the more you do it, the humidity stays inside the pot as much as the plant needs it. This body here is going to decide this. And this is for caladiums especially, because they're quite feisty. They like to give you instructions on their own. It's like, buddy, I'm gonna keep this water now because that's all I need, and fuck you, the rest. I'm not gonna do anything wrong, that you want me to do. But well-drained soil and keeping it moist, but make sure to have a couple of batches of water until some humidity is inside the soil, and you're gonna be good to go. And then you only need to check and make sure it's a little bit dry before you do it again. That is just as simple, and I'm not gonna say anything else because then it starts getting confusing. But if you have any questions specifically, let me know as you do already. I love those messages because then we get a little bit more detailed and I get more excited and I keep like dancing around, and I love this. If you have like specific questions, just let me know. When it comes to toxicity, they are toxic, which means only if you cut a stem and you have like the sap. Now, if the sap comes on you, you have like this kind of a red patch, eczema, this is the only thing that you have, and you're good to go. But make sure you keep the pets away and the small children that like to play with the leaves. You know how this goes, and it gives me a heart attack. So if the stem like gets cut, make sure no pet or no kid touches it, because then it gets, has these red patches that I told you about. What are some extra tips that you can actually have? You need to be aware now. In Greece now, we have this winter thing that I don't like, because as an Aussie, I like to be warm, and I'm actually envy of my friends down under, because I like to be warm. But with dormancy right now that we have here, and if you live somewhere that now it's the dormancy period, which means that the plants fall asleep, that means less watering. They don't like to be watered when they're kind of like asleep. It's like, dude, don't bug me, just go go away. So don't be the helicopter plant parent that just goes around and always finds a way to take care of them when you have nothing to do. It's when they fall asleep, you have some time to relax, because you don't have to take care of them that often. They don't like it. It's just, dude, leave me alone. They're kind of like doing this. But with caladiums especially, they don't like to be watered that frequently unless the soil is dried up. So be careful of the dormancy, and always make sure that the leaves get cleaned, because I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna be quite honest, they collect a lot of dust. As it happens with most tropical plants like the fiddle-leaf figs, monsteras, the banana trees, or calatheas. Marbifolia collects a lot of dust, by the way. Caladiums because they have a big surface, you need to make sure to keep them clean. Now, what I do when I don't have a lot of time, the missing thing that a lot of people say, which to be honest, it doesn't do anything, like it only does it for the moment. It increases the humidity for the moment and then it just goes away. But you can do that if you want to. It's like there's no harm with it, but you can use that and have it both ways. Have like the humidity increased for a second and clean the leaves. I do that with Nora, like the giant monstera, all the time. When sometimes I don't have the time to clean her leaves, and she's huge. She's like 2 meters now. That means that I spray her leaves and they're kind of like clean. They are clean. She has like now her way to absorb the sun and the stomata to do her thing. So for caladiums as well, because they have big surfaces, make sure that you keep them clean, and they're gonna be happy. That is it. You don't need to do much, especially now. Again, I repeat it. If you live in, now in a country when we have winter, like Greece here, dormancy period means less care for the plants. Leave them alone. They're like the teenage kids right now. Leave them alone. You don't need to do the helicopter dance around them. Just make sure that the soil is moist for all the tropical plants that you have, especially for caladiums, they kind of like that. And you're gonna be fine, you're good to go. Plus, if you need to fertilize them, do it once per month, but you know what? This is why, I don't know if you check my stories, but I have this natural way of fertilizing a plant, which is eggshells, spaghetti water, you let it cool down and then you just water the plant. You can do this one at a time when you boil spaghetti. And you can do that also with banana peels. You can make the tea, you leave it for 2 days to cool down completely, and then you just fertilize the plant. Or you can do that thing with the coffee. Just keep it natural for the dormancy period specifically, because, don't drive them too crazy. But those fertilizing options are great for like any day of the year, if you like to keep it natural. I have my NPK 999 fertilizer, but right now, I only use it for my Dracaena, which she was kind of like in a shock and she was losing a lot of leaves, and now she's growing. You can see her from here. But I only use the chemical fertilizers where something is really like an emergency, as we call it. But besides that, you don't need to do anything else right now for caladiums and for the rest of the plants. Just make sure that the soil, if you have tropical plants, it stays a little bit moist and you're good to go. Now, if you have any questions specifically for your caladium, if you notice that they're losing a lot of leaves, they might lose a leaf or two now because it's dormancy. I repeat that because a lot of people freak out. They will grow again when the weather starts to get warm. If you notice that your caladium is suddenly growing, it means that the weather is becoming a little bit more warm. So it's kind of like a nice way to tell you that the spring is coming back again. If it loses any leaves right now, there is no reason for you to panic. It's absolutely natural. Most of the plants do this right now. It's like, shoo, go away. They don't like it. They don't want it. That is fine. But don't freak out or think that something is going wrong. Nothing is wrong. So I will say goodbye to you for today. If you have any questions, just let me know. If you need to show me something specifically, just a photo or a question, and I will be right back with you as soon as I can. And next week, I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna create a poll of which plant we're gonna talk about, but I think it's gonna be another beautiful one. So I will say goodbye to you in the plant kind of way, and I will see you very soon in the next video of the plants. Have a great weekend ahead. I hope you're doing something for yourself today and that you feel good in your own skin. I think it's very important, and self-care, it's kind of, a good way to start for this weekend to do something for yourself. Again, see you soon. See you probably next week, and we're gonna be back with more plant caring videos. And if you have any questions, let me know. Bye.